Hi everyone, this is Mindy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be playing with this Desertscapes set from Concord 9th. I thought this would create the most beautiful scene, and I really love this color palette. So here's a look at the Desertscape set. You can pick it up as a bundle to get the stamp, the stencil, and the coordinating dies. And there are some special features to this that I found very interesting. The first thing I'm going to do is take some white cardstock. This is from Concord 9th, and it is cut to 4¼ by 5½. I put some repositionable tape on the back to secure that down to my glass mat. And then I'm taking the first layer of the stencil, and there are some etchings to help align this over the top of my A2 size panel. Now, this first layer of the stencil is going to give me the sky and also the bottom portion for my sand. And I am going to mask off a portion of this so I can do two separate colors. I actually want to start with the sky. So I am placing masking tape over that bottom portion just so I don't get any ink there. And then taking a blending brush, and I am ink blending Harbor ink into that initial area of the stencil. When I'm done with the sky, I can remove my Post-it tape down there. I'm going to position it up over the top so I don't get any of this color into my sky. And the next color I'm going to use for this first layer for the sand portion is a Clementine. Again, I'm going to use a blending brush and just real lightly go over that because Clementine can come in pretty powerful. And I really wanted to see a transition of colors between the different layers of the stencil. Then once I have that done, I can remove that first layer of the stencil, and I'm going to bring in the second layer, which I found very unique. Now, again, there are little corner markers to help me align this with my A2 size card front, but there are two different stencils on here. So I'm starting with stencil A, and it does have etchings on the stencil to let you know which one is A and B. I lined up layer A, I masked off the top portion, and then I'm going to come in with spiced cider. So this is a darker color to help with that kind of transition or ombre look between the different layers of the stencil. Then I'll pick that up. I am going to turn my stencil. So all you do is rotate it. And then this is stencil B, and it's going to help me add color to the rest of the scene. Now, I am just holding my stencil in place with some Post it tape. Again, I'm going to mask off certain areas with that Post it tape. I do recommend switching up your Post it tape when you are masking off areas, especially if you placed it over an area of your stencil that already has ink on it. You don't want to transfer that ink to another part of your card. Now, this last layer, I am bringing in cayenne. So it's going to be really nice, dark color, really is going to give you that Arizona or desert vibe. And as I mentioned earlier, the stencils do have it etched on there, which one is A and B, and also that you need to rotate your stencil. So everything is right there on the stencil for you. Now I'm going to use some coordinating dies, and Concord Ninth always does something really interesting with their coordinating dies. So I took three pieces, the cactus, the plant, and the sun, and die cut them out of white cardstock. Then we have the coordinating stencil. Now I placed my white cardstock onto a sticky mat to help hold that die cut in place and also my stencil. And the stencil, you're going to notice, is not going to give me a white outline. It's going to color in the entire area of that die cut. So that first layer for the cactus was using pistachio. Then I'm just going to line up the next layer of the stencil for this, and this is going to add detail to the cactus. And for that, I am using artichoke ink. I'll explain in a minute why I think this is really cool, but that cactus, the detail to it, I just thought was really neat. Now I'm using some leftover ink to do my plant, and then I'm going to add in the sun. Now, of course, you could die cut these from colored cardstock, but right here, it really brought to my attention why I loved this. Now, blending on a sticky mats are great for holding your die cuts, but sometimes my bristles can get kind of stuck on the sticky mat and I can't get onto my die cut very well. Placing the stencil over the top is giving me that slick surface, so my bristles just glide right onto the die cut. For the sun, I had used a Buttercup ink and also a little bit of Creamsicle to give it kind of that orangish hue. I'm bringing in my stencil panel and I brought it into my Misty stamping tool and I'm using the coordinating stamp set to add a sentiment. And there are two different sets that curve right around the top of the arch. So for this one, I'm going to do Thinking of You that I stamped using a black ink. This one happens to be Versafine, Claire, and Nocturne. So it's just a really nice dark black. There are also some fun designs on the stamp set. So this one is kind of going to add a decorative edge to my scene. Again, this one I'm just using that same black ink. It's really going to pop off of the card front. Now, if this is too much pop for you, you could always stamp in maybe some of the reds or the oranges that I had used in the card project. I had cleaned that stamp and I repositioned it so it's going to go in the other corner. So, really loving that design. And then there are some different shapes on the stamp set. There is a solid and an open star. There's also a heart and I think maybe something else. I am using the open star to add those details right before my sentiment. And I did stamp another one and then die cut it out with the coordinating die. So I can pop it right in between where my lines are going to meet. With all of my die cut pieces, I did die cut them one more time out of white cardstock and layered them together to add a little bit of dimension to them. What I found really neat about the way that this stencil and die set worked was it almost looks like these die cuts are part of the stencil because they don't have that white line on there. I am actually pretty comfortable, or I really like to have a white line around my die cuts, but I was really blown away by how seamless this scene came together. Leave it to Concord 9th to come up with such an amazing design for the stamp, die, and stencil bundle. I will have all of my supplies that I used today linked down below in the video description and over on my blog. I hope you enjoyed today's card projects and it's giving you all of those warm, summery vibes. Thank you all so much for joining me. And here is another video I think you might enjoy.